What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Right, today we've got a single coil stroke mesh coil RDA, and this one's from Wotofo. It was kindly sent over for the purpose of this review. Thank you very much, Wotofo. Co-designed by Mr.Justright1. Here it is. I have the green metallic version. This has got an aluminium top cap sitting on top of the top side by Wotofo and TVC. So without further ado, let's get down to the table, have a good look around the packaging. Throw a little mesh build in this one today, of course, and then we'll come back up top and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, see you down low in a bit. Right, down at the table, here's the packaging then. So we've got a nice see-through window with the presentation there with the base and the top cap. Profile, Wotofo.com and Mr.Justright1. So on the side we've got profile, on this side here got vaping with Mr.Justright1 and Wotofo's website address designed by Wotofo and Mr.Justright1. I think we know it's designed by and made by. So we've got the kit contents here, the two logos there, another profile logo, usual sort of warnings. So to open the box, I've partially opened it because it is a case of shake and vac, and then you put it open and it's presented like this. So we've got our aluminium top cap here. The green version. Here's our little base, and we do get a spare 810 fitting drip tip, which we'll try and get out for you now. Really tight packaging this one is. Just take the lid off, take the felt pad out I should say. So inside you'll find a selection of goodies that Wotofo are renowned for. So in here we have got this little tool here, which is used for mounting your mesh coil, basically. Phillips screwdriver, Allen key. This one here, this is the mesh in here. I don't know if I've lost it. There should be another piece in there. I've used one of them already. This bag we got the couple of screws. We got the 510 pin because I've got it in squonk mode, and we've also got a selection of O-rings for you. The usual little manual for you to tell you how to do it all, but we'll talk about that today. And we've also got some shoestring cotton, and not forgetting we have, I think there's, well, it looks like there's just one coil in there. It looks like a bit of a fused Clapton going on. Right, quick look at this RDA then. So if we look at the top first, actually we've got a acrylic style resin multicolored drip tip, 810 fitting, O-ring around the top, so you can just plug whatever one you want in. Here's another 810 fitting one that comes with it, the black, if you just fancied it like that. We've got dual airflow, so air coming from both sides. We've got 19 honeycomb airflow slots, holes I should say. So not much going on apart from you've got the profile logo, which is engraved in on the side there. This is an aluminium cap, but I do believe it comes in just regular stainless steel as well. But because I've got the green colour version, we have aluminium, so it's quite lightweight, this one. So on the bottom we have profile. It's very hard to see. We've got Wotofo's logo and Mr. Justright on the bottom there. We've got a negative screw there, so that's a Phillips screw holding the negative post in. And we've also got the gold-plated squonk pin installed. It does come with the regular 510 pin, which does protrude. And we've got a peak insulator surrounding it. So we just put it on the Dilly Gaff Addy stand, which you can purchase on Facebook. So it will lock into place. We've got two-piece top cap. In fact, let's just take the whole thing off. So it's in two pieces. That's what we're talking about there, domage-wise. So it does assist with flavour. Not the greatest doming in the world though, I must admit. But this piece just pulls off like so. We've got an O-ring around the top, and you can reduce the airflow down, and we'll just show you that right now. So if we plug it in just like this, try and get it to focus in. Right, 19 airflow holes. So let's see what happens if we spin it. Right, if you go this way, it sort of knocks off the columns. So if you just see there, we've got like half of it shut. And it will be the same on the other side. So if you keep on spinning, you can basically, I think you can shut it all off, more or less. It might be one hole showing. Carry on going, and you'll just notice like you can just knock off each of those holes, and you can have it so it's just the top row that's shut off. Are we quite there yet? It's very hard to see on camera, but you get the gist anyway, and it's the same on both sides, so you can just experiment at your will. Right, here's where the fun and games start then. So we have got 2 O-rings around the bottom, got notch cut out there. I forgot to show you actually on the cap, you'll just notice we do have a notch on either side. So this actual sleeve, we take that off there, it will lock into the base, so it doesn't matter how you put it on, but just sort of spin it around until it finds the hole, and then it just means you can unscrew it from your mod a little bit easier. Right, so we have got sort of chunky Phillips style screws. You can use a flathead as well, and just try and get a bit closer in to show you what's going on here. Right, in the middle we have got a springy bit here. I do believe there is a spare spring in the spares, I just didn't show you that one. 2 clamps, so basically you just release the clamps and then plug your either a single cord in or a piece of mesh. But the idea of this is when you're using the mesh, when you push down on that, so the mesh will be looped over here like that, so when you put your cotton in, it sort of pushes down, so then it gets it a little bit more snug, because basically when you're building you want to make sure that all of that mesh is, has cotton touching it, otherwise you will get a dry hit from hell. But there you can just see the squonk pin installed there. This spring isn't the springiest in the world. I would have preferred it if it was a little bit springier. Not the deepest of juice wells there, but obviously when you put your top cap on, you have got quite a bit of room as a juice well here, and I've had it really squonk right above these airflow holes and it doesn't leak, so that is a good feature. Right, okay, I've just loosened the screws, so if you get yourself a little pair of angle-ended tweezers, so you can just move those clamps out like that. And then you grab your piece of mesh, which incidentally is made out of Canthal, this one. And what I did was just use this mesh cording rod just to bend it over slightly. Do that the best. Let's try that again. Just got to try and judge it so they're even on both sides. Something like that. Not going to get it perfect when you're trying to do it on camera. Pull that out again. And then just drop your mesh in either side. Hopefully it will fit in there. Grab your screwdriver. Right, it's not the best looking in the world because I've mangled it because we're trying to do it on camera. But we're going to go and put it on a mod now so we can get rid of the hot spots in this mesh. Right, we've got it on the top side. Got it at 20 watts and we've got 0.15 ohm it's saying at the moment. So we'll just bed this in a little bit. So small little pulses. It looks like it's glowing evenly. It's got rid of all the hot spots out of it. So now we can just get a piece of cotton in. Right, so we are going to just use the shoelace cotton, but if you are going to use like some Muji or something, I'd suggest using at least half to 3/4 of a pad and pull it all apart and then like roll it as tight as you can, because you just want this to be nice and tightly in there to make sure all of the cotton is touching that that mesh. So we just rake that out slightly. There you go. Use that rod to help you push it through. Twist it as you're pulling on through, and because that spring mechanism with the piece of insulator in there, that will help it. It'll push down, so it should fit in there nicely. Right, so that's nice and snug.
hazy and a little crazy. Could it not be the way that...
So you can just see there, we can just squonk it all the way up, and you won't notice any of that liquid coming out the airflow slots. There you go, totally overflowed. So we've now saturated that cotton entirely. So all we need to do is now just let that soak in a little bit and put this little top cap on. Go back up top and I'll tell you what I think about it. Right, we're back up top with the Profile RDA. What are my thoughts with this one then? Well, the packaging, as ever from Wotofo, looks very appealing, and I quite like this RDA in green. I think it looks pretty good. If not, it hasn't got the best design going on, but it's quite simplistic and it looks okay to me. I like the way that the actual logo is just engraved, and we've still got the same colour green over the top of it, so that's to my liking. Now, the airflow hole configuration on this did remind me of the Bonza style RDA, which is all very good if you like that sort of thing. But two-piece top cap, I find this a little bit of a pain in the arse, especially when you get a bit of juice around the edges. Would have been nice to have had a little bit of knurling or some way of getting your fingers in there a little bit more if you haven't got any nails. But the O-ring tolerances are pretty good on this though, so no problems there. Now, bear in mind around here, they have rounded it off quite nicely, but just got to be a little bit careful in case you nick yourself. But I like the way they have rounded off the edges on it. Right, we've got a nice chunky bit of aluminium. This is apparently on the coloured versions. So yeah, that ain't going to break in a hurry. It's a really nice bit of material. And like I say, the machining is generally pretty good with this, because Wotofo do churn out pretty decent products as far as machining goes. Now, the post screws, they're pretty good on here, but like I said on the Elder Dragon review, I'd have preferred the screws to be a little bit stronger, because I did find that you can sort of verge on chewing the actual screws, so a little bit better screws wouldn't go amiss with this one. Now, the build deck, it's those clamps on it, I find them a little bit fiddly because they don't stay open. Well, they do stay open, but you just got to like get yourself some tweezers in there to make sure they are open. It might have looked a little bit easier on the video than what it is, but if you try and do it with it in your hand, and sometimes like one of them will shut on you. So yeah, it would have been nice if they sort of just sprung open as you undid it. But it's a good idea they've got that little block in there, which means when you put your cotton in, it makes sure it's pushing up snug against that mesh. So that is a good idea what they've done there. So yeah, all in all, it's very well machined, pretty good design, and it looks okay to me. Right, what about the performance though? Right, we've got that mesh building that I did below, and we'll have the airflow fully open, and I'm going to put it up to 60 watts. Here we go. Right, with that big lump of cotton in there, you'd expect we have got a little bit of restriction with this mesh cord, and it has so. So I wouldn't say that was no more than a 7 to 7.5 out of 10, with 10 being the widest open for airflow. However, I do tend to like to close it off slightly by putting the top cap, so just the top row on either side is closed off. So let's just have a go on that now. As you can see there, got very smooth airflow, of course, with the honeycomb airflow, getting plenty of clouds from it. But I just think the flavour increases if you do restrict the airflow. So we're just going to restrict it now by literally closing off half of it, but horizontally instead of just that top row, vertically I should say. So now the air is sort of going at the angle like that. Yeah, it's okay. It's better than fully open, the flavour for me, but I do prefer it with just having that top horizontal row closed off. That gives me the best sort of restriction, the best flavour. So that is the mesh coil. What do I think of this mesh coil then? Well, the only other mesh RDA that I used was the lit RDA by MF Vape. And I did think it had pretty good flavour, but if you get a dry hit on it, it's like the dry hit from hell. It really is. And I did get a dry hit from this one when I used just my regular Muji pad. It did look like it had enough cotton in there, and it was all juiced up. But if you let that juice just go a little bit dry, it's a horrible sensation if you do get a dry hit on mesh. So I wasn't particularly looking forward to using this one. But since I've used that the cotton string pad thing that came with it, I think it's just the right amount of cotton, so it does tend to work a little bit better. So you just got to make sure you do cram it full of cotton, make sure all of that mesh is touching the cotton, and ensure that it's juiced up at all times. But the good thing is, if you're dripping, you just blur it in there and just look and make sure that it is. But if you're squonking, you do what I did down below, and you can just squonk it all over the top of it, let it soak in there and get it nice and saturated, and jobs are good and basically. Right, I did try this in single coil mode. I've got the coiler here, which is a Rolling Fog Modern Coils coil, alien build, so check him out on Facebook if you haven't done already. Awesome coils. And I thought the flavour was okay. It wasn't the best, it was definitely not as good as the Recurve in my opinion, or the Elder Dragon for that matter in single coil mode. But what do I think of the flavour in this mesh mode? Well, the first few days I was using it, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was the best in the world, and now my conclusion is I think it's okay, a little bit above average, but it's definitely not my best single coil RDA by a long shot. So would I give this a thumbs up? For me, I don't think it quite lives up to the hype, and I just think there are better single coil RDAs out there. But it's a decent effort, and I'll be interested to see what the actual profile RTA is like, which they are releasing very soon, along with TVC and Mr.Justright1 again. So big thanks to Wotofo for sending over for review. It is very much appreciated. So if you enjoyed the review, guys, please give it a little thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing too, and hit that little bell notification. You'll be notified of all my latest videos. Now I've got my own website, it's mfvape.co.uk, and I can also be found on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. So I've also been nominated for the Best Reviewer Awards over at Vape Around, so it'd be mega fantastic if you give me a little vote for Best Reviewer. Thank you very much, and until next time, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Okay, cheers.